I wanted to wait a few days before I did a review because honestly I wanted you guys to be able to see it first and then we can discuss it back and forth. So there are going to be spoilers in the movie, but I'm not giving anything away. But if you've seen the movie, we can talk about it. If you're too young to see the movie, now you know what you're missing. What's up everybody? It's been a little while since I've done a vlog and I thought this would be the perfect time to start doing them again. I've been getting a lot of tweets saying, what'd you think of Deadpool? Hey Joven, you're gonna see Deadpool? So I thought what better way than to answer that question with a video. Here is my kind of review of Deadpool. So I'm gonna be explaining why this movie was good. It's so easy to say, oh my god, it's Deadpool. This movie was great. Well, let me break down why this movie was awesome. But before I do that, we have to take a look at the few things that I thought could have been better about this movie. Yes, we're gonna start with the negative before we go positive. I wanna end on a positive note because I'm a cheery person. First things first, this movie, though amazing, did suffer from some of the tropes that you see with other origin movies. This was the first of its franchise. Hopefully it's a franchise. And with that, we see some issues that we see with other origin stories. Too much setting up the story. Like, yes, it was important that we went back and we saw how Deadpool became Deadpool. But I think we could have done with like at least one less flashback. Just one less. I don't know which one, but maybe one less. So if you take this movie and you're like, all right, you had this scene, you had this scene, and you had this scene. There were like 3 major scenes that were being broken up by a flashback. And we would then go back and see how Ryan Reynolds became the Pool of Dead. And a lot of that was really good. It was very necessary, but I feel like it may have slowed down the movie just a little bit, but that could have been because of the budget it had. This movie only had $70 million for its budget. That's a little. To kind of put into perspective how little $70 million is for a superhero movie, let's look at Avengers. Avengers had a production budget of $220 million. That is triple the amount of money Deadpool had, because for some reason Fox is like, this movie's not gonna make a lot of money. And you really see that in a few scenes in Deadpool. You're like, oh, this action scene could have been better. There were actually supposed to be 3 bad guys, but really it was just kind of like 2.5. You got the main bad guy, you had the chick with the boobs and the strength, and then the guy with the bullet that was, he can stop bullets, I guess. He was kind of in the movie. But I digress. I personally would have preferred it if we didn't spend so much time on the past. The scenes were good, but maybe just a little too much there. I wanted to see more Deadpool being Deadpool. Though it is a very good thing that this movie left me wanting more. That's great. I want more. I want a sequel. Give me more now. That's a great way to leave your audience. But maybe give us a little bit more before we want more. Meh. Secondly, this movie suffered from what a lot of comedies suffer from today. Trailers are great. Yes, they get us hyped for a movie, but what we're seeing in comedy trailers is they're putting all their best jokes forward. They're like, hey, here's this joke, and everyone's watching the trailer like, this movie's gonna be funny. I wanna see this movie. But then when you watch the movie and you realize, oh, I've seen 90% of the jokes in the trailer. TJ Miller is a great improv actor, a great stand-up comedian, and just a great actor in general, and he was hilarious in this movie, but I do feel like all of his best lines were in the trailer. Maybe they could have used alternate lines in the trailer and then given me fresh lines in the movie. It's a small fault, but the movie's not bad. I wish I hadn't seen so much in the trailers, but that's a whole conversation for another time. Stop showing me so much of a movie in the trailer. Just get me excited, I'll go see the movie. So yes, the movie dragged on a little bit with flashbacks, maybe a little too much origin story, and we saw a lot in the trailer. That's about it. Everything else about Deadpool was a fantastic movie, and anyone says otherwise has, well, a different opinion than mine, and that's okay. But seriously, this movie was great. Ryan Reynolds, yes, was born for this role. It's very easy to say that, but he killed it. He really did. He's been wanting this movie for 11 years, and you can see it. When someone's filled with so much passion, it just plays in this role, and that's what makes it great. It literally is the Deadpool that we want to see from the comics on the big screen. And there was some doubt from even fans. They're like, I don't know, like Deadpool is this very unique character. You might not be able to do it in movies, and they did. The scene where Colossus shows up and tries to bring Deadpool back to the Xavier mansion. Deadpool then is trying to fight back and is like punching him. He breaks his hand. He punches him again, breaks his hand, tries to kick him with both legs, and he's just this broken, mangled mess, which is visualized really easily in the comics, but people are like, how is this gonna work in the movie? And it did. Like, you see Deadpool is like this broken mess and can regenerate very quickly. I'm also really glad that they touched on the fact that Deadpool can grow back limbs. He's got a little baby hand, which I'm sure the internet's gonna go crazy over. It was hilarious. funniest line and a great part of a movie. So what's important to take from this is that they really did a great job taking the essence that is Deadpool and moving it onto the big screen. So everything people wanted from Deadpool, not only the comedy, not only the action, but what makes Deadpool Deadpool is in this movie, and that's so important for every other superhero movie and video game movie to take. Like, take the core parts of what makes a franchise great, what makes a property great, and then utilize that more. Like, just put that in there. This is so important for, like, the fan service of Deadpool is really what I think people were going to the theater expecting, and they got that. We got multiple jokes about Green Lantern. We got jokes about the original Deadpool. We had jokes that were aimed towards the studio. Probably the best line of the movie was when Deadpool's at the X-Mansion and he's like talking through the doorway. He never goes in. And he's like, it's funny, this place is so big, but all we see are two mutants here. It's almost like the studio didn't have enough money to pay for more X-Men. And that apparently was an improv line, and they kept it in there. Being ballsy is great. People need that right now. We're so used to these formulaic, safe superhero movies that we gotta kind of make fun of what we have and see something different. That's what we got. Another great thing about this movie was, yes, we knew Deadpool was going to break the fourth wall and he knew he was going to be in a movie, but the fact that they were able to crack jokes about how it was a movie and look at it from this meta standpoint was brilliant. I think the best part of the movie is like the first minute. Have you ever noticed that in movies you have like these opening credits? That is actually mandatory. Like, Hollywood says you have to have opening credits. It's like a law or something. They have to do it. In fact, in the first Star Wars movie, you have the opening crawl and then no opening credits. And Hollywood's like, it's an indie movie, it's fine, whatever. They let it slide. But when George Lucas went to do Empire Strikes Back, Hollywood's like, hey dude, yeah, this movie's big now, so you have to have opening credits because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. And he's like, this is how Star Wars starts. It's with the opening crawl. And so you get sued, or you get fined actually, if you don't put in opening credits. And Deadpool, it had its opening credits, but it didn't say who was who. It was just like, starring a hot guy, a hotter female, the comedic relief. And like, the fact that it knew it was a movie and it was just kind of like making jabs at that. And then during the section for written by the real heroes here. And like, that right there was just giving the writers their dues. Like, this movie was great because of the writers, because they were so passionate about it. Passion sells, and Deadpool was full of it, and that's why it's good. But most importantly, when people ask me what did I think of Deadpool, I say I'm very thankful because of this. This movie being an R-rated movie and doing so well. I'm filming this video on Saturday. Today's Saturday. And right now it made the best opening preview night, which is Thursday, go like around 7 to midnight at like 12.7 million. And then it has the best February release of $47 million on just Friday alone. So this movie is doing really well. Originally it was tracking to make $50 million for the entire weekend. It did that in one day. One day. You go, Deadpool. So what this shows us is that an R-rated movie, superhero or video game or whatever, can make a lot of money if the fans want it. So this could be opening the doors so we can get R-rated superhero movies or video games. So instead of having like a Punisher movie being PG-13, maybe we can get an R-rated Punisher movie. People shouldn't be scared of an R-rated Mortal Kombat. We need Deadpool to be successful, because if it makes a lot of money, it's then going to open the doors so that we can have more R-rated superhero movies. Because let's face it, there's some movies that just should be R-rated. Could you imagine Old Man Logan being an R-rated movie? That would be amazing. Wolverine should be an R-rated movie. What about some R-rated video game movies? What if we got an R-rated Mortal Kombat? You know what? I'm digressing a little bit. Maybe next week I'll do a top 5 video where I talk about R-rated movies. Maybe. Last year we had another R-rated comic book movie, Kingsman. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Unless you're underage, then wait till you are of age, because I'm a responsible influence and blah blah blah. That movie did very well, but at the end of the day, it only made $135 million. Only $135 million? Yes, that is absolutely fantastic, but in the grand scheme of comic book movies, no one's gonna say, hey, here's $220 million for Deadpool 2. Like, that's just not gonna happen because it's not gonna make that much money. But we can put $80 million behind a movie and double what it can make. So at the end of the day, the best thing about the Deadpool movie is that it opens the door for more R-rated content. We can get adult superhero movies and adult video game movies, and it'll be fantastic. Now let's look at the action in the Deadpool movie. Perfect. It was exactly what we needed. Deadpool, he's a mercenary, and he's great with guns, he's great with swords, and just like the opening fight scene where he's explaining that he only has 12 bullets and what he can do with 12 bullets, it's perfect, and it's funny at the same time, and just fun to watch. And then the cameos. Come on, we've got Colossus in here. Finally, Colossus gets the justice that he needs. He is big Russian metal man, but still gentle giant. There's a scene where the chick that he's fighting, her boob comes loose, or that would be gross. Ew. I mean, her boob pops out and he's like, whoa, I'm sorry, but you got something there. And she's like, oh, thank you, that's so sweet. Like, that's so Colossus. Like, he's this giant, gentle giant. And he would do that. He'd stop a fight so that a lady can get covered up so that, you know, he can continue punching her. Meh. Now, we didn't see a bunch of other X-Men. We didn't see a real cameo by Wolverine. But maybe in the next movie, which there's going to be another one, maybe we'll see some more people there. And now the question is, do we want an X-Force movie or just a Deadpool and Cable movie? Who knows? We'll leave that for another time. So in short, Deadpool was a fantastic movie. It is by far my favorite origin story superhero. Not my favorite superhero movie altogether, but it's up there for sure. I give it the trophy of best origin story superhero movie in my book. That's gotta be worth something. Whew. Now, here's just hoping it makes a bunch of money so we can get a bunch of other Deadpool movies, because I never want this to end, and I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds wants to stay doing this role as long as he can. Alright guys, that's enough for me. I'm rambling on and on and on. Hopefully this video made some kind of coherent sense. If you want to see me do some more vlogs, let me know in the comments below on what you want me to talk about, because that's where I read those. I read those and I see what other people want. I'm going to give it to them. Also, if you haven't yet, I do a podcast here on the channel called Unpopular Kids, where we talk about a bunch of geeky things. Check it out. We did a Valentine's episode where we talk about the best and worst geeky romances ever. Yes, Harley Quinn and Joker are in there, but they're the worst. They're seriously the worst ever. Stop thinking they're great. Bye guys.